Hi everybody, Tracer Brown here, and hope you're loving my big thick goggly headphones. I love them, they cancel noise, and since there's some noise behind this door, I thought that might help us today. Um, so I get this request probably once a week, and I thought it was high time that I talk about it. The role of when we have um, health or medical things, and how do we include intuitive eating in that? And of course the answer is we can. It's just a little different than when there's not a single food that like physiologically doesn't work for you. And so I get this question mostly around people who are struggling with some gut health issues, celiac disease, IBS, and just some of those general, we're really not quite sure what it is, but I know that I feel how I feel and I have these symptoms, and so we have to honor that. And I guess that straight off answer the question, what do I do if I have celiac or some kind of gut health thing and I'm on a protocol, or let's say it's any kind of other autoimmune thing. The way I work with clients is that we start with where we're at, and sometimes it's not doable for a number of reasons to right off the bat start with foods. Sometimes it's too triggering to take out foods, and we just need to work on eating from hunger and fullness and address symptoms through medications, supplements, and stress reduction. And I do stress reduction. My work is around the somatic stuff, which helps us create more safety, decrease shame, tolerance. Sorry about that little freeze. And increase tolerance in the body for managing stress. So that's the way I would do things. Plus, general things like more play, more rest, those kind of things. So I like to go that direction first, working on the mind body stuff and supplements, and decreasing whatever stress levels you have around your body image and just relationship with food stuff. That's my role. And so that's what we start with first sometimes. So I've had many clients who, for example, knew that maybe dairy wasn't their friend, but it was too triggering to take it out all the way, certainly, and certain foods just not ready to at all. So we had to work around that and get to the place where there was enough ability to honor and care for ourselves at a heightened capacity. Then we can maybe work on the food stuff. For those of you just ready, like, I don't really want to, like, let's say, not eat my cheese. I love my cheese. But I still don't like these symptoms, and I have a suspicion that it bugs me. I guide people through learning how to work through any fearful kind of thinking that might come up as you start to do like a short-term elimination if necessary. And again, I always like to look at, really, is this the food? Or every time you eat this food, what else is going on that might be contributing to, let's say, a twisting stomach or diarrhea or whatever it is. I really want people to get as clear as possible about what is emotional and what is physical. And I don't deny that there's physical things that happen in our bodies, and you could be having a calm, clear, wonderful day and still have a symptom or something's bugging you. And we experiment with the food then. And again, always using hunger and fullness as our guidepost. Now, that being said, there might be times where you really want to do intuitive eating and you're doing some food things for a medical concern, and gosh, like, the intuitive eating isn't coming that easy. And so I would say, well, we have to then do some mechanical eating, which is making sure you're eating enough. And I highly recommend that you have some help with that, because it's kind of hard to know, like, well, am I eating enough? I know I've had some times where I had some delayed gastric emptying from thank goodness, I'm so grateful, a short term, I mean, it lasted a year or two, but a situation I was going through. And I had to do some mechanical eating. I wasn't necessarily hungry in the morning, or I would feel a little nauseousy or refluxy with very little food in the morning, and I knew mentally that wasn't enough. So I could handle that, at this stage of my life, but 10 or 15 years ago I couldn't have without it being really restrictive and possibly slipping me back into some restrictive mindset kind of stuff, and I definitely would have had to have help and assistance for that. So anyway, that's my stance, and I think intuitive eating can totally work. Recognizing that intuitive eating doesn't just mean it's a free for all, eat whatever I want. Sometimes we can't, and that's where we are going to rely on working on hunger and fullness. And there's a food that I'm experimenting with to get a more comfortable or quote unquote a better physical internal result, not an external physical result, but a internal, my stomach doesn't cramp, or I don't feel so like my food's taken forever to go through, or I don't have so many headaches, or whatever you're trying to get relief from. So I hope that answers your question around, I had a specific question, so I wanted to address that, but that's the way I work at least, and I know that I know it takes a lot of patience and a lot more detective work than we'd like to work through those issues. And I know some conditions are lifelong and some are not. And I think it takes a lot of compassion and kind of grieving what is. That's not easy. So I hope you remind yourself of those pieces of the equation as well. That it is frustrating to not just do whatever you want to do. I've been there, and it can get easier. All right, so thank you so much for watching and listening, and we'll talk soon. Thanks. Bye.